to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Party crowd coming out on a cold night with a bitter wind. So I'm gonna call this meeting to order. Would the secretary please call the roll?
Director Ellis. Here. Director Ewald.
Here.
Director Erpenbach.
Here.
Director Carey.
Present.
Director Graves.
Here.
President Essman.
Here. All members being present, this meeting is called to order. We customarily introduce our guest tonight. At my right is our board secretary, Carolyn Bacher. At the head table is our general manager, Bo Anderson, and our assistant, Josh Simpson. Our reporter, Evelyn Piber, welcome, and Mr. Tom Miller.
Yep.
Welcome as well tonight. So, thank you for coming out. There will be two opportunities for members of the public, our customers and employees, to make their voice heard on issues with the water district. The first is the next agenda item. Any member of the public may be heard on any subject that is not on the agenda. You will have one opportunity to speak, which is limited to 3 minutes. Please come to the lectern so that your comments may be recorded by the microphone and may be heard. Please identify yourself by name and address and spell your last name. This is a good time to request items for consideration at future board meetings. The board will not engage in debate, but will attempt to provide brief answers to relevant questions. There is also an opportunity for you to be heard on the agenda items before a vote. The board president will acknowledge the public after motion has been made and discussed by the board for their input. The president will recognize speakers who raise their hand. You may comment for up to 3 minutes. Each speaker will have only one opportunity to speak on an agenda item. So, this is the time for public comment and questions to the board on non-agenda items. Do we have any this evening? Mr. Miller? Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll skip item 6 since we had no questions. Next item is approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I approve. Make a motion to approve it.
Motion by Director Ewald. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ellis. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the agenda, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Agenda is approved. Next, approval of minutes. Can we handle them as a group? Or would you?
I think we can.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I make that motion.
January 21, January 29, and February 4 minutes.
And on second.
Motion by Director Graves, second by Director Carey. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approval of the minutes indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Consent agenda, prepaid
Yes.
bills for approval.
Director Essman,
Yes.
there was, Josh had his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was
sorry.
gonna say, Quinn's name, it's one N, not two. And one of them, I don't know, he just noticed it.
When
when he
he
was
did
reading.
21st.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's one end.
one N, not two.
And he just changes.
That was on the 21st.
I believe
It would
so.
have to be because he was here that day.
That was the regular.
The regular board meeting.
Okay.
Thank you for that, Josh. I'm always particular about how my name gets spelled. He had an extra N, I always want one. Okay. Consent agenda is next, I prepaid bills for approval. Or for no action. Is item 1. balance sheet, income statement, budget statement, expense statement, cycle statement, and Board of Investments are there any requests for separation?
I don't have a request for separation, but I just have a couple questions, but it's fine to make the motion and then have that part of the discussion.
Yeah, let's have a motion and we can discuss it. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I move, the consent agenda be approved. Second.
A motion by Director Carey, second by Director Graves. Is there discussion? Director Ellis.
So, oh, I have a question on page 23 of your report. You have access to it?
Can we wait for the manager's report?
Well, it's included in the finances. It's called. I have the budget statement. No, it's called the expense statement. It's on page 23.
Oh, okay, that is in the consent agenda.
Yeah.
So. What is your question?
Well, my question is, we have service line fee in January 25, December 25, and January 26 of a set amount at $10,000. So what is the service line fee of $10,000?
No changes.
That's a revenue account, correct?
Yes.
Well, yeah, it's a revenue account, but our service line fee is $1.40 per meter. So if you take all the meters, it comes to 8,000 something, and it's not a set amount, it varies each month. We've got more meters in the summer, we've added 2 meters, but that has stayed constant for the past 3 months, and 10,000 is not a correct number at $1.40 a meter.
What the size of the line though, isn't it? No. Yes, yeah, 10,000 straight across the board. Gotta vary.
That's the third line down, you've got water revenue.
Yeah,
Hydrocarbon service line fee,
let me, that looks suspicious. Why is it 10,000?
right? And the other thing is, because I think it's really important to separate it out, but because it's paid with the water bill, that whatever that $1.40 per bill has to be separated out from the water revenue.
Yeah, I'll clarify that.
Okay. So, and then the other question I have, inspection fees were 13,281 in January, 300 and then 100. Are those fees we're charging to people?
Service line inspection, so when somebody hooks up to the curb stop, so new construction. That it's $100 service line inspection meter set fee. So that's us going inspecting, making sure they're using the correct height of pipe, fittings, correct bury depth, all that stuff. So, and that's it varies month to month because depending on how many people call hooking up for service.
But 13,000 in 1 month at $100 an inspection? That's just not possible. That's 1,300 connections in January of 25.
That was
I looked into that.
something, what was that? Something was added. We did look at that.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Can you get back
I
there?
can't remember.
We did look at that.
Yeah, we thought it stood out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, let
okay.
me look at that.
Bo and Josh,
Yeah.
if you go to page 20 of the agenda packet, that is the report, the income statement prepared by the Black Mountain Software.
Yep,
The, it's organized a little awkwardly, I think, because normally in income statement, you've got all the revenue accounts at the top, and then you have all the expenses account at the bottom, and then you've got your net income at the bottom net. This has got a revenue, then an expense, then another revenue account, and then more expense. But the revenue account is just is got no discreteness to it.
Right.
So you must be going into that to prepare that that spreadsheet that you
Right.
built, correct?
Correct. I didn't like the setup, but in Black Mountain, you can run it a couple of different ways. But the way I run this is very detailed, and I bring it into the spreadsheet. So I have a tab for each month, and then I bring it up to this format here. And I always kind of check the bottom line. The main difference you will notice if you go back is the water purchase. Why? It varies greatly because when the bill comes in, and if we're going from a high usage month of August to September, we'll get that August bill in September, and the P&L statement looks weird.
Way out of whack.
So with our new auditor, what I like to propose is that we go to a standard cost system when it comes strictly the water purchases, because we know how many gallons we bought. We know what the cost is, so it's no brainer. And then the following month, we have a variable. So one is usage variable, the other one is cost variable. That's how a standard cost system work. Last year, not only were the bill shifted, but they were irregular at best. And I keep track on the billing cycle, how many days between the bills, and they average about 16. And they used to be a lot worse than that. So the P&L state didn't mean anything to me, you know?
Well, the reason for my question is if there's an option in that software, and I assume
there is.
you can get a little more detail on
Yes.
in terms of how that revenue total builds.
Yeah.
I think it would be wise to try that next month. We don't know that the next GM is gonna want to spend time building spreadsheets
Yeah.
like you do. But we should be looking at what kind of power we can get out of this software that we're paying a lot of money for. And if I am a little nervous about moving to an accrual system because you've got to have a really skilled bookkeeper to work an accrual system, because there's opportunity for mistakes with accrual that there isn't in cash, because you can't match it
Right.
to a bank statement. So that'll be something the board's gonna have to look at and think
Right.
about.
So you're just
Thank you for
looking,
your suggestion.
looking for a more in-depth income statement?
Off of Black Mountain, yeah.
Okay. I think this,
If we get enough more detail there, you wouldn't have to be doing this, except for a couple of high level things.
Exactly. And with a new auditor, I think we can have it arranged that way, the way the system is working now, and
I think
it's
this,
very difficult to change it, but I will redo this P&L statement, have it sent to you hopefully here next week. So you don't have to wait for the next GM or something, so that you know that we can present the P&L statement in a more normal
That'd be
way.
great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
well, I will do
Appreciate
that.
that.
Yep.
Further questions, Director Urquhart?
A point of clarification, when we talk to the auditor, this contract is for auditing only.
I know.
If we need additional accounting services, he said he could sign contracts to do that.
Yeah.
So through the auditing, he's gonna just audit, he's not gonna get into some of the other stuff.
I highly recommend, because
Mhm.
for me to change something here is very difficult.
Yeah.
And if I had a third party saying, hey, we got to put this entry here and we need to update this every month, and it could be done a lot faster, but we need a CPA to, because I want to make sure that we have an auto trail here, that
Mhm.
what we report is actually right, and that there is a debit and there is a credit. So the auditor needs to make sure that the Black Mountain give us the information, and that the new entries are put in correctly. And so that was not the case going back to July of last year.
Director Ewald?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was looking at this in the yellow, bowl.
Yep.
And, it shows 50,700 gallons purchased. 38,100 gallons, sold. That's a 40% non-revenue water. Is that because of the difference in the days that it's red, or what is it?
Correct.
And 40% is where we were last year at this time, but
Right.
3% less is all.
Okay, so what we report here in the yellow is what actually the invoice was from the city and what we actually billed. The days are different. So I have another report that reports on the actual usage by day and the what we bill per day on the average. And those numbers are different. But as an audio trail, you know, we post what the actual numbers are here.
So that makes it tough to decipher this, because we got this sheet that says this, we got another sheet
Right.
that says that. Which sheet are we supposed to believe? And now I noticed in your report, you said that they filled the tanks for the divers. And that might be the reason for the excess water. So if that's the case, then we would be dropping down to where we would be selling more water this next month than what we purchased. Is that true?
Yeah, it should be. Unfortunately, the diver came back twice because of a video.
Well, one was video and one was,
Yeah.
a couple were with.
So we had a little issue, and it really interfered with I take daily readings morning and afternoon, and I do my calculation and charts. So it gives me a hint when we have an event somewhere and potentially where. But I can send as a follow-up to our discussion here my detailed calculation on the day. So if you look at it that way, prorated by day, it's not, the number is much lower. So anyway, I can elaborate on this, but in the interest of
So
time.
if our tanks were all empty and you filled them all, how much would that be? Filled them all to the top, 2 + 2 +
Well, they're 8 million gallons,
total.
but you know, the drawdown is 9-10 feet. Depending on the season, we change it. Part of the reason for the tanks, as you know, is fire service. So you take a couple of thousand gallons for 2 hours. What is that? 1,500 gallons for 2 hours. And that is a considerable volume of water at somewhat normal pressure. So the tank serves an important function. What you might not know is that 50% of the water that flows through the water station never hits our tanks. Just about 50%. About 220 GPM comes out of the hilltop and around 400 ox and another 600 GPM on Main Street somewhere. So when something goes out of whack and some ratio changes, we look at it and try to figure it out where it is. But the flow out of Ox and Hilltop are very consistent. The flow to the tanks varies a lot. And to complicate things even more, we had them put in a new flow meter. And the flow meter is fairly large flow meter that have less of an accuracy when you fill Heights water less than at a rate of about 1.4 mgd. So when they fill, they fill. What am I saying? They're not modulating the flow in. So if they're filling at a regular hour, that will affect what I'm doing, the rate. Case in point, I talked to Lewis about the new second connection. We're talking about a 16-inch mag meter. I would not recommend it. Why? Because the flow rate is not going to be there. And so I think he approved the smaller flow meter so that the flow, when it happens, is not as a high rate. So that is an issue, but I'll be happy to send everybody my detailed tabulation of that. And that's important. And whoever takes over this is crucial.
Thank you, Bo.
Yeah.
Are there any more questions? Can we move on with the consent
Can I just
agenda?
ask a quick
Yeah.
question? The reason if I understand correctly, the reason we put a chlorination system at Oxbow was because in the winter, the usage isn't high enough of the water, and so the water comes in chlorinated just fine, but it sits there too long and the chlorine dissipates. So, but my
Not
question.
really.
Well, that was the reason we were given.
Yeah.
So is there any concern about the water that's going into the other two tanks that's filled higher than normal, losing too much chlorine and not being as safe?
The chlorination, number one, each tank has aerators, not aerator mixers, and that goes way back. AWWA and the EPA, stagnant water is an issue. So they run like 24/7. And I think all tanks our size throughout the country do have mixers in them. That's normal practice. Now, the chlorination station had to do with when we take the chlorine residue in certain location, it was low. It was not necessarily low in the tank, but it had to do with up in the.
It's due to the retention time. So if you think about it, water coming in from Walters, and it has to make its way to Lanier, and then from Lanier up to Oxbow, and then that water is ultimately being served at the corner of Wicks and Glen Eagles. So it's got a long lifespan where it's traveling through all these pipes to get there. So it ends up being that retention time. And that in the winter time, it's a higher retention time because there's not as much usage. So boosting that chlorine residual in Oxbow tank helps to maintain that minimum residual that we have to meet at the higher retention period times throughout the district.
Okay.
Which is in a certain area where we have had issues, and that chlorination station works great, doesn't it? Totally automated.
Well, I did notice that in Evelyn Pyburn's publication of February 6th, maybe. Huntley project indicated they were now flushing, they were gonna do some regular flushing of their lines in order to get rid of sediment and improve their chlorination in their pipes. If I recall that correctly, do I, Evelyn?
I don't know.
I believe that's what I read. So if you could find that issue and then perhaps call them. Because I was thinking that might relate, they were having a problem with sediment in their pipes. And that's why they were gonna do some regular flushing. I don't know how often or how they would flush. I don't know if they have fire hydrants out there or not. But you know, it might be worth a phone call.
There's also a difference between groundwater and surface water.
Right, because they're
Ground.
they're pulling from wells and
And then ours.
we're not, so I understand. But it,
You know, on that note, if I may interject, and it's in my report, we did clean the tanks and we did clean up the sediment because there are always something in water. So all that get vacuumed up from the bottom of the tanks.
when did the divers do that?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
That's
yeah,
part of
it is
the,
in my
that's part of
report.
the.
And if you
inspection.
want a full report with the video and the pictures, we have all the. And in general, they were in good shape. There's only one issue that we need to address. Anyway, that's a separate.
I'm glad you did that.
Every
When I
5
moved out to
years,
Briarwood subdivision, there was a water district out there. And then it consolidated with the city of Billings. When they took it over, there was 8 feet of mud on the bottom of that
Hmm.
tank.
yes,
It was a mess. Anyway, because they just pulled it out of the river and
yeah.
no filtration, it just all settled to the bottom. And there you go. So anyway, okay, can we vote on the motion? Okay, all those in favor of adopting the consent agenda, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Managers report, item number 10. Questions for the manager?
Well,
Director Ellis.
mine is a question that, Bo had put the Raft Ellis invoices in his report rather than in the, consent. The consent agenda. So we actually, included two invoices. One of those had already been paid, but we need to make a motion, to pay invoice, or I move that we pay Raft Ellis invoice number 43387 for $32,106.25. So that we can finalize our commitment to Raft Ellis.
Is that the only one we need a motion?
Yeah, the other one was paid, so it shouldn't have been in there.
I told him to hold that, so we have that held back, because that was not approved.
It was approved and we
The
paid it.
the 3,000,
Yep, that was paid.
okay,
That's why it doesn't show
That it
it
was-
held.
okay, fine,
Well, I mean, it doesn't show on the held bills, so
right.
Okay. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Ellis, second by Erpenbach to pay Raft Ellis invoice 43387, which should be the final invoice from that firm. Their discussion? Comment from the public, Mr. Miller? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Further questions for the general manager? Director Ewald.
You, Chair. Bo on page 43, I guess it is. Yeah, under operating income. I don't know if this is a typo or what, but it says the higher gross margin was due to lower cost of goods sold. And actually, our cost of goods sold,
It's in your manager report, so it's.
be the second to the last paragraph on page 43.
His doesn't have page numbers, so.
It's page 3 of his report.
Yeah, page 3 of his
Oh, okay.
report.
That's easier.
That might be the one there.
Yep, I got it, 43,
Okay, where it says operating income,
yep,
it says the higher gross margin is due to lower cost of goods sold. Well, cost of goods sold actually went up over this last year.
not during the month.
Well, they say it's, the cost of goods sold is the rate, the water rate, and that's staying the same. Unless we're looking at two different
Now, cost of goods sold COGS is water purchase, 173,000. It was down from last year, 12%. And yeah, $25,000 from December and 25,000 from the year before.
You're figuring this over the whole month, not the cost of
the-
every thousand gallons.
Right, the cost of that's correct. The regular cost per gallon didn't change, of course, per thousand.
We just
That's
use less
consistent.
water.
Volumes.
But the cost of goods sold, that's all goods, which means all water for the month, went down 12.7% compared with last year, while revenue increased 10.5%. So our margin went up. So you got to look at all of the water that we sold was 173 last year. It was 198, and the revenue was only 291 versus 322. So that's
So
a
you're
good ratio.
The whole month, you're not.
The whole month
Right.
of January. Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
And I think the difference is that last year we had such a huge leak in January. We were paying for water that we were spilling into the ground.
We lost 31,000 in January last year. This year, we made 62, so the swing is $93,000 between the two.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Director Ellis.
So, Bo, I didn't actually understand your report on the water meters.
Yep.
You said that we were installing advanced meter you said the Heights Water District is installing advanced metering infrastructure meters. So are you actually installing the cellular meters?
No.
Okay, so
What page is that?
I don't know, because I copied it out of your report.
No. We are replacing, and I'm glad you brought that up.
It's page 1. of
We
your
are
report.
we are increasing the number of meter replacement because of the batteries, and they are really timing out more and more. So I would say 20 to 30 per month, Josh. And I foresee that to increase.
Are we billing? Are you taking meter readings visually when you're replacing those meters and billing those customers for that water? Because we've been trying to find that out.
Yeah,
We're not
So-
there.
yes, when
But there's a
we
new,
go in and change out a meter that's the electronics that are failing, we take the final read that's on the head and put that on the work order, and then so Jen can go in and calculate, she can end that account or that meter head, so we know what that read is, and then it starts all over again at zero.
At
with
zero on the new meter.
Yeah.
Okay.
and that's all recorded in Black Mountain too. It's a software.
Oh, so
Talk
If-
to,
if
yeah,
in
so we have
utility
auto
billing.
trail
we
of that.
could,
Yeah,
that's a good
Yeah.
thing to know. Director Eagle.
So it needs, when this endpoint quits or fails, does it fail like? And so you don't have a reading for several months or how does that work?
The signal gets weak and
But you still
we
get a
can't,
reading.
some of them we don't. That's why we're replacing them, because we can't get a read with the computer or the handheld.
So how long do you wait before you?
2 months.
2
If it
months.
shows up on there 2 months in a row, we replace it. Cause sometimes you might get a random. The weather was weird that day and it didn't read for whatever reason, and then the next month it'll read for 6 more months. And then we might have that problem again. So we're keeping track. If it shows up on the reread list 2 months in a row, then it gets kicked.
So let's just say it's summertime and this happens. Somebody's watering their lawn and they've been running like a $200 a month water bill. So all of a sudden now they got a $600 water bill once you go out and replace it because you let it slide for 2 months.
No, she estimates the bill.
They get a bill.
but
They get a bill, it's
automatic,
estimated, and then, yeah.
But part of the problem here too, guys, is not just that they're dying. We know they're dying. So we're in a reactive mode. When you're in reactive mode, you always lose. When you're proactive, you have a plan, you work a plan, it's called success. And we are reacting to smoke. We're not concentrating on the fire. The fire is that we know these meters are overextended. They're not. So we should replace them, and we should have a program to do this. And I outlined in my monthly report some of the other advantages. We talked earlier before the board meeting started about the Susie calling people, and she does a great job to try to keep these people current. It's amazing. And as you know, our aging over our accounts receivable, it's very current. We do not have big issues. But with this MI, where we send out bills and get the reading electronically, that will help the customer to stay current. And those little tickets that we send out, 6,000 every month, a few percentages, which means a few hundred. They never see the customer. They get blown away or stuck in a newspaper. It's a problem. So we need to be proactive, update ourselves, and go into the next century. And what we're doing right now was great 15 years ago. Technology has changed. We should take full advantage of it. I rest my case.
Thank you. Further questions for the manager?
Well, I've got a related question on that.
Yeah.
You can't get in. I mean, I used to be able to get in and see my bill online. I can't anymore because you can't just register and then see it. You have to call the district office to get set up, which seems incredibly inefficient.
Okay. That doesn't sound right. Okay.
No, I mean, I realize I can call, and of course, I get the bills emailed to me, by Susie, usually last month by Jen.
Yeah.
But I can't look at my history because I can't get into the system without setting it up directly with the staff. There has to be a way that you can register and start using it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been because I know Director Esman wanted to see that 12-month like you get in the city, the usage. So I've been working on with Black Mountain to do that on our little cards. They can't do it, but they let me know that we can do it online, so you can see the usage. So we hope to implement that. It'll be
Just need
13
to
months.
make it sensible.
Yeah. So it'll be a 13-month overview. So January, and you can see all the other months, and which is great for snowbirds that are away. Hey, I didn't use any water, or in August I use a lot of water. Filled my pool. You see what's going on, so to speak, historically. So I will update that. I'll let you know.
Yeah, that'd be
Thank you.
great.
How does the city estimate the wastewater bill? We share our water
Based on our water.
on our water. That's what I thought.
They get our billing rates.
And they say they take the average of the 3 lowest months.
No, it's January,
November,
February.
December, January, and February.
It's January, February, March.
Okay.
Doesn't include, yeah, I got that information from Jennifer just recently.
That is only on residential meters. On commercial meters now, they're billing
Her-
actually. So. Okay, can we move to old business? Okay. Board committee reports, consolidation study, Director Eagle.
Nothing new to report from last month, except I got a hold of Chris Krapowski a couple weeks ago and went in and had a little sit down with him. And as you know, he's running shorthanded with it without a public works director right now, and sounded like they're getting close to getting one. And he told me that they were gonna get moving it up again. I told him we need to have a meeting. Last meeting went really well. We need to start having meetings again, so. That's all I got to report on that right now.
Thank you. Audit committee report. Who wants to do it this month? Director
I'll just say,
Urbanbach.
I mean, the board knows, but we did finally get the contract signed because the state finally got the audit contract corrected. So that was really good. I called Paul a couple of times just to let him know that what we were doing and how it was because it was kind of embarrassing to be drug out this far, but he didn't seem upset or nervous, so we're on our way.
Yeah, I have signed it. Okay. The physical copies I signed are in the safekeeping of the board secretary, because I can't keep track of stuff. They have not signed it and sent it back yet, so
Okay.
when we get that, Josh, I'll email that to you so you can post it as we should.
Okay.
And they'll get going this spring. Executive search committee report, Director Ewald.
Again, huh? Okay, so right after our last meeting, we got together and Director Urbanbach and Alice, and we started doing some figuring out how we're gonna approach this. And so we got in what we wanted to have after our executive, for our special meeting, wasn't what we wanted in the advertisement. And so it was posted, Bo posted on AWWA National, and it's been posted in Montana Rural Water, and it was in Yellowstone County News, nice big ad. We were talking, Doug and I were talking to M&M, we went to visit with them, asked them if they knew anybody, and they says Peak Water Services. So we had an interview with Peak Water Services. We talked to Kyle, and he seemed like, yeah, we can help you out, we can do something for you, and we haven't heard from him since that interview. And so then, by the direction of our leader, Mr. Director Esmond, he told us to look up a headhunter, and so we've tried 2 or 3 different ones, and it looks like we've kind of centered on GMP. And it's we've received good feedback from them. Their fee is $18,500 plus expenses, and I'm going like, well, plus expenses leaves it pretty wide open. And so Pam says, well, I'll call him and ask him, and so he goes, 26,500 would be max. So the benefits of that, going with them, the first thing is though, they got a 3-month recruitment schedule. And then the benefits are they recruit for water utilities and wastewater specifically. So it's not random, just okay, we'll put it out there, whatever. They have recruiters that are all experienced in either water utility management or public works. They have a larger available net to cast. Reach out to way more people. They've already got connections with different people that are actually looking for work in them fields. The biggest add-on that I can see is they screen candidates and they do the background checks. So hopefully we don't end up like Des Moines, Iowa, where you have a superintendent of schools that's shouldn't have been there, and I mean, I can't believe it, but that's why we're hoping that they do good background checks. It's something that us as a board would be a little tough to do. And they do preliminary interviews following our criteria, so they get 20 applicants, they narrow it down to a field of 3 that they feel meet what we want or expect to have. And then they help us get together and we choose from them 3. Hopefully we choose from them 3 to get a general manager. And then the question came up, well, what do we do with all the resumes that come in from AWWA, Yellowstone County News, Montana Rural Water, whatever? And we just decided that the best thing to do would be to forward those resumes on to GMP, if that's what we decide to go with. Because then everybody would be treated on an equal basis, equal vetting, because the same company would be doing all the resumes of all the candidates, so. So with that said, I move that we hire GMP to assist in our pursuit of hiring a general manager. And this is just the first step, because then we have to get a contract put together and approved. And there was one other thing we gotta do. What is it?
You say it
Oh,
costs
we
not
gotta
to
have, we
exceed.
gotta have a resolution filled out and passed at the next meeting or a special meeting. So we gotta have a resolution and we gotta have a contract, but this is to get the ball rolling, so. I make that motion
Is it at a cost not to exceed
at a
26,500?
cost not to exceed at 26,500.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Director Graves. Motion by Director Ewalt. To approve hiring of GMC to run an executive search, GMP, excuse me. At a cost not to exceed $26,500. Is there discussion?
I know that's kind of out of it, but I used headhunters a lot. And one thing I insist is that the candidate didn't last 6 months. They have to produce another one. So like a 6 month
Yeah, they
guarantee.
got that in there too.
You have that. That's very important. Very important, because you're spending a lot of money here and they gotta give you some kind of a guarantee.
Right.
Thank you for your suggestion. Is there comment from the public? A comment from Mr.
And
Miller
that type of stuff would be in the
in the
contract.
contract, and we can.
Sometimes it's, no,
We can make sure.
yeah, make sure you, makes a big difference.
Okay. Further discussion? Director
I would
Ellis?
just add that, they really have been good so far. I mean, I initially made contact with one of the recruiters and we spent a lot of time on the phone talking about how the process works. GMP stands for Greg Michael Protham, who's the founder of the company, and he's been really responsive and helpful, both in providing some additional information and being clear. What, you know, Frank was concerned that we'd go over 30,000 and he kind of gasped and said, I've never charged double my contract. So then he proposed the 26,500. So I think from what we've seen, they'll be great to work with. Of course, people are always good on the selling end, but and the fees are lower. Greg and I talked to a recruiting firm in Bozeman that didn't have the skill set at all. They were very nice people, but they would have charged us more than this firm. And this firm is the only one I found. I looked at all the ones that Bo had and looked at some others, made some contacts. But most of the search firms are hiring like for Denver or St. Louis. So they're not interested in little district. Most of the staff that are at GMP have all worked in smaller mid-sized cities as professionals. So that is the total focus, and I'm not aware of any other firm that does that.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion. Let's bring the matter to a vote. All those in favor? I asked for it, there was none. That opportunity was provided, so, motion before us is to
Start the ball rolling.
start the ball rolling, to enter into a contract with GMP to assist in the executive search effort at a cost not to exceed $26,500. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion passes. So, have the committee get a contract prepared, get it to me. I'll get it reviewed by Martin White. Well, I'll have Bo look it over too in terms of, since you've used them before.
Normally I.
You'll know
pay
what the-
more
what
than
the normal
Yeah.
contents of those
Yeah.
contracts are, and you can give us your comments, and we'll try to get that worked out, and then when we're ready, I'll pull the trigger on it. Just a Zoom meeting to adopt it.
Resolution.
Okay, okay. Very good. I guess next is new business. Item 12. Number one,
No
approval.
question there, Jay.
Oh, yes, Director Gary, I'm sorry.
I just have, I'm not quite sure if this is even appropriate, but I'd love to request budget amendments for specifically for legal fees, but there's also a number of other budget items that are overextended.
Okay,
And I just didn't know where to put that.
oh, okay. What was the one that you mentioned that's,
Was for legal fees, yeah.
well, we should have probably handled that in the consent agenda, but with no objection, we can handle it now. So do you want us to do it in an organized fashion, have the GM look at all the budgets where we're over, and then just prepare a series of
Sure. I
budget
can-
amendments, and then we can take it up at the next special meeting?
Yep.
Would that be okay?
Yeah,
Is that fine with you?
Yep.
Oh, okay, great.
with that, with the GM also, look, we're way under. So we can transfer from Peter and pay Paul if possible.
No problem. Every month, you don't know this, but I sort the expenses to Excel and what's above and the low and the high. And then the total, of course, to make sure that our total expenses are in line. I will send you those details so you know exactly what it is. But you mentioned legal. Yes, we have observed that. And I could do a special report on each one of those bills if you want.
You know, the thing is, what we should have been doing all along and what we haven't done is, like, we're 345%, I think, over on engineering fees. We shouldn't be overspending line items, so what we're talking about is budget amendments, which get to bring back and say, okay, we're over in these areas. And so we're gonna bring this account current, by taking money from where? Reserves, whatever, but,
Yeah,
So-
I can run a query on what you're talking about. The item that's high, I can run the details. I'll show
Right.
you what the details.
it's not a matter of show us, it's a matter of fix it. You shouldn't be overspending the budget, even a line item budget. Fixing that and also looking at the ones where you're.
Well, we don't have any control.
You don't have any control.
I'll give you the numbers. You
Right.
make the decisions,
But
okay?
you have to show us where you're gonna take the money from, that's the
Well,
point.
Well, that's you have the physical
We're a
responsibility.
little off track
Okay.
now. We'll
Okay,
let's discuss the resolution when we make the resolution.
Resolution is.
So but right now, we'll get a scope.
Okay.
Yep.
So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So now can we go to number 12, new business? Okay, item number one, approval of master task order contract and task order one for preparation of uniform application update for type replacement projects in calendar year 2027. Attached to the packet was the suggested CIP from Louis Angles. The attached was the master, the uniform, well, I guess it's a national master task order prepared by the engineering and construction industries. Attached also was the task order for the combined contract and then a resolution adopting those. So can I have a motion to adopt resolution number 20? That resolution. OXX 26. We're gonna be using the convention that the board wisely asked for to number these resolutions after adoption instead of before, so. Can I have a motion?
I would so move.
Thank you, Director Terry. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Terry, second by Erpenbach. Is there discussion? I do want to thank, the general manager for bringing this, including this in his manager's report. You know, when I looked at those maps, showing where the breaks were, you know, in both, they seem to be concentrated in a couple areas. One at the lower end of Main Street and one at the upper end of Main Street. But we've got 2.5 miles of 60-plus-year-old pipe. That's a main artery for the service to our customers. That's, you know, has issues and has had a lot of breaks lately, so I think it's time, so I'm gonna support the motion. Further discussion? Mr. Miller, do you have any comment from the public? Okay,
Mr. Chair,
Director Ewald.
does this just cover the task order one, or is it also the master task order contract?
It covers the master task order contract, which now is limited to a 3-year term. Because this project should be, when I talked to Ms. Cook of Morrison Mayerly, the initial task is about under $10,000 just to prepare the application for state revolving fund loan. She said, assuming that they've got to get that done by April 1st. She said, assuming they have there's no trouble getting these loans approved at this point, there's potential for loan forgiveness, so they want to get on it now. Because the money, apparently the grant money is there for forgiveness. But she said they think they can finish the engineering this calendar year, so we could be building in calendar year 27. That would be their target, so. Director, I'm sorry, general manager and. Sorry,
Just a little footnote of what you're committing to yourself here is the application. With that application, I believe you need a board resolution on the project itself. So that is the Main Street. So they have to come up with a proposal, the design and the construction estimates, because that's part of the application. So this is one component of that process.
Yeah, there'll be many
Yeah.
steps.
But they will come back to, because they cannot submit it without a board resolution that you guys are going to do it.
So that would be on our March agenda.
Yes, I'll add that to the. I'll find that. They do plenty of these projects, so I'll discuss it with them to make sure we're on the right timeline and we don't miss anything. Thank you. General Manager Anderson, further discussion? Seeing none. Then all in favor of the resolution to enter into the master task order contract and task order 1 indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion passed. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a resolution to appoint, have the president appoint a committee to locate a firm to assist in preparation of rate adjustments for fiscal year 2027, because we have a price increase from our supplier coming, at least there. Can I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the appointment of a committee to locate a firm to assist in the hiring of a rate analyst.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Carrie, second by Erpenbach.
This is gonna have to be an ASAP deal.
Yeah, well, we've got, yeah, because we've got to find a firm, and then you've got to have if the increase is more than 5%, which likely will be, you gotta have two meetings with the hearing to get it adopted, so we'd have to, the final adoption could be in June, so the earlier one could be in May, so we've got about, what does that give us? March and April. So, but
But you gotta get all the stuff.
right, this year I think would be relatively more straightforward because we could assume our operating budget's about the same, they could forecast a little bit in term, well, our servicing our current debt is, we know what that's gonna cost. They could forecast what the additional debt might be for the latter part of 27 for the Main Street project, because there'll be debt service coming on with that. And then the higher cost of the water supply, but it should be pretty,
If you want to outline the tiers with the city, that's a big project right there.
I don't know.
The city's not gonna change their tiers to accommodate us, so. Well, I guess all we have to do is just change our tiers, but then that's gonna be a little bit of a rate study to figure out how much you're gonna charge, because. City's first
Well,
tier.
Paul's got that spreadsheet he provided to 1889 already, so that if they, they ought to be able to pick the right column out of that and just manipulate that one column to figure out, it's just volume times price, and then you come up with your total revenue need based upon making those changes, so I wouldn't think that would be that hard an iteration.
I have started some of that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That'd be
I
great.
started some of that, and I also started based on what Lewis said, what will happen on a monthly basis. But I hope to have a preliminary budget for you at the March meeting. I know it's early, but for discussion purposes,
That would be
based
good, 'cause
on,
it'll coincide with the figures you bring on, which ones we're running behind, and we're over.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Spending on, so that would be good, we can use that to compare them too.
right. A budget are not only based on historic number, but also what you intend to do in the future. So like our debt service right now is about $375,000 a year. And with the Main Street project, you're talking about what Lewis had suggested, $6 million per year.
30 years or 20, no, 2 years on.
2 years on that, the whole thing. So anyway, I will have some and a commentary, so you can
Yeah,
look at this just rough draft, because whoever your rate consultant, he needs some of your thinking. And normally the historic numbers and the CIP, what are you intending to do the next 3 years, And that's the main thing, because your rate, when you decide on that rate, it should be for 2 years. You don't do this study every year. And that's how the city does it, every 2 year an in-depth study, and they revise the CIP too. So that's just normal practice, and I highly recommend you do a 5-year budget plan with spreadsheets and so at least you have a guiding light of where you intend to go. Because it's been too much back and forth, in these projects.
thank you. Okay, further discussion? Director Ellis?
Well, I know you got a couple of names from Morrison Merrily. I asked Greg Protham for a recommendation, and he gave me the FCS, which is one that you'd gotten from Morrison Merrily. So, and I think they're located in Oregon, Washington. So they're more regional. I also talked to Devin Beal, who's the director for Midwest Technical Assistance in Montana. They have 5 employees here. There's many employees nationwide. And they're funded by the federal government and by the state. They typically work with districts that have 10,000 or fewer But they did the rate study for Great Falls. So he is willing to, he would have to get a funding source, but he's got a degree in chemical engineering and civil engineering. He's passed the professional engineering exam. He's experienced in wet water, wastewater, solid wastewater infrastructure. He's just done a tremendous amount of work, and they would do it for free. Our system is so easy by comparison to most that I think we definitely need to talk with him about. Because we spent 95,000 on Raft Ellis and rejected it. We spent 52,000 with them opposing it. And Great Falls spent nothing. So I think we really need to take advantage of the resources if he gets the funding sources together. There's 5 employees for Midwest Technical Assistance in Montana. He's the director.
Well, let's let the committee do a thorough search then. Further discussion?
Question for Director Ellis.
Yes.
When was that made for Great Falls?
Last year, I think.
And when does that rate go into effect?
I don't know. I just read it in one of the news things because I read their news all the time.
Because it's hard to tell if that was good great advice until you can see something that's done for a fucking.
The committee can check that.
Yeah, we can argue over who gets a job at
Yeah.
the time the committee brings us some options, so. Let's start the process here today. So is there further discussion? Saying none, all those in favor of adopting the resolution to appoint a search committee to look for somebody to assist us in rate adjustments, indicate by saying aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion passed. Item number 3, the Montana Rural Water Conference is going to be held, I believe, over at the Lockwood Water District in late March.
Billings Hotel.
Oh, okay, downtown. Oh, West End.
West End.
Okay. The fee per to send a board member is $300. So this resolution would authorize up to 600. So a couple of board members wanted to go attend that event and gather information and background, make connections, whatever, that would fund that. So is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, but I get some discussion.
That's fine.
So
We won't have discussion unless we have a motion.
I reckon.
Motion by Director Carey, second by Ewald. Discussion, Director Carey.
Do we have this in our budget?
I guess you can do an amendment to do.
I think the resolution included a budget amendment as I drafted it.
Oh.
Yes, sir. I anticipated your question.
I think there's stuff for board members spend money on
In the budget. Well, if we don't need it, the GM can bring it back to us and say we're underspent.
We can move that, so.
Or we can send more directors if more desired. We'll have to analyze it.
What days, somebody know what days those are?
23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th.
Yep, those are the dates.
You're really
23rd.
interested.
4
you
days
could-
or 3 days?
It's 3 days.
That could, yeah.
23 to 25?
Yeah,
You're really motivated, you could attend the continuing education stuff and get your license.
They all are, but that's what all the classes are.
no, there's 5 pages of agenda items.
And their CECs attached to all of them.
Whoever attends, I attended these shows, AWWA. They're always headhunters that walk around. And in the program, you will find out who they are, try to contact them. Because there's a lot of body talk on a trade show like that. And so I always talk to them because if there's somebody sharp out there that was not happy, I want to hire. So you guys just walking around there, I think you're going to waste a lot
I
of
thought
time.
you meant we should be looking for a job.
Yeah, you can find one. So anyway, look at the program, there are, get a list of, I'll have Josh get the list. And get in touch with those and talk to those people. It's gotta be at least 3 or 4 of them there.
Wasn't gonna,
Well, you might run into Josh, he's looking for a job.
I'll be there.
For the discussion, Director Ellis?
Well, the reason I proposed it, I know a couple of the board members from Lockwood. And Lockwood always sends board members every year. And I think, they're sending 4 staff plus the general manager. And then the general manager had said they would send any board member that wanted to go, and it's 2 that are going. And what they do is they get together with the staff and they divide up the workshops so that they cover as many of the workshops as possible. I think it's easier for us because there are quite a few sewer workshops, which we obviously are not interested in. But there's a lot of things that would be appropriate. So I guess it'd be helpful to know how many people would actually want to go, to see if, are there more than 2 that want to go?
Well, if they can look, if this resolution passes, they can look, you can share the agenda with them.
Right, but if it passes, only 2 can go.
Well,
And-
we still have budget room. Maybe
Okay.
more could, but we'll need to hear from Bo on that between now and registration time.
Well, registration's by February 27th, so we've got to make that decision tonight.
I mean, you can register at the door, but it's like double.
Yeah,
But I would highly, at all trade shows like this, you pre-prep them. Meaning you get a list together and who you're gonna see. You attending workshops, I don't think that would be the best time if you're looking for a general manager. So I would definitely talk to the people that represents the HR world and the employment. They're gonna be there. I know they're. Those are the people you want to sit down. They will introduce you to perhaps a half a dozen candidates if you do it right.
What do you remember from the Black Mountain where the board expense item is?
You go to the budget on the consent agenda,
That's what
I'd
I'm
say
looking at. I'm looking at
page 21. And it is
21.
object 112, the director's fees. That's the
Yeah, that's
that's the board budget.
Yeah, but don't worry about because we have miscellaneous and there's a lot of places where you only talk about a couple $100 each, right?
300.
300.
Yeah,
I put all that under the training and tuition
Yeah.
is,
and that's got a lot left, doesn't it?
But I don't think that's the main subject, the budget. The most important thing, you go there, find somebody.
Fit under
We will-
travel and lodging real easy. There's
we'll-
$2,400 and there's only
Yeah.
180 spent.
training and tuition is where that's where I put where the 300 I spent goes into training and tuition, 381.
Thank you, Josh. Yeah, so,
And that one's 18% committed, so
yeah,
there's room in that.
So there's
Plenty of room for
we
it.
have more, if we have interest from more than 2, I think there's plenty of room there for another 2 at least.
So should we survey and see who would like to go? To see how to change the resolution if we have more than 2?
We don't need to. amend the budget because we've got the flexibility in there already. So
But wouldn't we
we're
have
fine.
to, wouldn't we have to amend the resolution?
Just say, just send board members and you don't have to put a number,
Yeah,
Okay,
a number of board.
I think from a industry standpoint, the more the merrier, not just looking for a journal. The more you know about what we're trying to do, the people you meet with, the manufacturers, the sales rep, the better off we all are, and you too. So there's a lot of very, very useful things that you can do that and learn. So I encourage all of you, if you could, to go. And it's not often in Billings either, it's not every year here. And we've been a long time member of AWWM Rural Water. Rural Water normally serves communities less than 10,000, so you don't necessarily have the big wigs there. But it's an important market. And Rural Water probably gets $20-30 million from the federal government to support their, above all, the training. They're very good at the training.
okay. Okay, members, so I've looked over the resolution as drafted. It could be amended in 3 spots to provide more flexibility. The first would be to strike the word "to" in the caption. The second would be in the be it resolved language that the budget amendment to the current fiscal year budget be made, adding the sum of $600 to the board budget, which sum can be used along with existing funds. I'll add that insertion. And to strike the word "to" again.
You gotta.
Board members to the conference, that would provide plenty of flexibility.
You gotta go up to the heading and take two
Take-
out of there.
I mentioned that. So those 3 changes. Is there,
Sure.
can I have a motion to that effect?
Conceptual
Yes.
motion. Move to accept
We're
it.
drafting legislation on the fly again,
I know we already had a motion, but I'll make a motion.
to make the amendment,
To make
okay,
the amendments.
and a second, okay. Striking the word twice, the word "to" in 2 places, adding the insertion of the words "along with existing funds" to the resolution as presented.
Okay, who was the second?
Karen,
Thank you.
discussion? Comment from the public, seeing none. All those in favor of the amendment indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Resolution is amended. All those in favor of the resolution as amended indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion, resolution is adopted. Okay,
okay, so then we need to figure out who we're sending so that Bo can, or Bo or Jeff can get us registered.
send an email. Bo and Josh.
Yeah, just
Okay,
that we
Within
can
the
pre-register,
within
so
the
that
next
you don't have
couple
to
of
stand
days.
in line and doing your thing there.
and also we don't wanna spend $600 to go when we can do it for 300. Yeah,
But I would pre-prep the show, figuring out who you're gonna talk to. Going to a training session, you know, there's that's terrific. But meet and greet people. And if you can get together with a headhunter or two, they might even arrange a meeting with you. And if you tell these people what you're looking for, they will find one on that floor for you.
I don't think
Thank you.
there'll be headhunters with this one.
Well, normally they are.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
somebody
You can put my name on there, Bo.
Yeah,
Let's
Yeah.
let's have this. This discussion is, go home, think about it, and let the GM and Josh know as soon as possible. Okay, let's move to the next item,
Okay.
item number 4.
I think Josh had something on.
I said you wanna have a date just so, cause when was registration closed? It's
I think
coming
it's
up.
February 27th.
Be
So,
next Friday.
the
week
tough
from
Friday. Right,
by this
okay.
Friday. Haven't.
And what? are
Let me
the
know,
dates of the
yeah.
The sooner the
The
better.
23rd, 24th, and 25th of March.
Let us know by Friday or forever, hold your peace. Is that,
I got it from. See, that is my little one, we put over that.
Oh, no, that's
Okay.
why I have to do, that's why I have to do it now. But there are things that are appropriate.
Okay. Let's move to item number 4 of new business, approval of adjustment of compensation of board secretary. There is a resolution drafted and I have a motion. Put that up for discussion.
I'll move for discussion purposes.
Thank you, Director Ewald. Is there a second?
Second. Or.
Motion by Ewald, second by Erpenbach. Thank you. Is there a discussion?
What, okay, so we got a 1 hour meeting, 2 hour meeting, 3 hour meeting, and there's prices there. What was it prior to this resolution for those same meetings?
Hang on a second, I can tell you,
I thought 2 hour meeting was wasn't it 250?
250, I think.
We never had a 1 hour meeting there, did we?
Not that I've seen,
Work.
sorry.
I'm an optimist.
So we had one special one on the way.
Save a lot of money.
We could get there, people wouldn't filibuster.
What do we do with, if we adjourn right now, approve this and adjourn, what would we do with an hour and a half meeting?
I'm open to suggestions.
You could get one of those old fashioned time clock and have it ring out here now and just wait.
Now, this includes the minutes for the meetings all written up too, right? On these prices.
Because basically when, can I
Yep,
interject?
there we
Yeah,
go.
please respond.
When
Explain your
When, Mis-
situation.
when President Espen hooked me into this gig. It'll take a couple hours, you go to the meeting, write the minutes. Well, then it's expanded to other duties, which I totally don't mind. But it's taking considerably more time than I initially had budgeted in there, so that's. Why I've suggested that we might consider. Increasing that.
So one of the reasons that this is taking more time is every time there's an addition to the agenda, you have to redo the whole agenda
Packet.
packet.
Because
Yeah, packet.
if it's small stuff, I have the agenda that I have to edit. And there's an agenda that's in the packet that has all the links to all the documents. And so if you do anything like adding documents, then I have to go redo all the links.
All the numbers and,
Right,
so, okay, so I was throwing this around with Jeff. So we do the agenda packet the week before, like we had proposed. So then any additions to the agenda have to wait until the Friday before our meeting.
Well,
So
you-
it would be a one-time deal.
well, you could certainly give me the changes and then I'm just gonna stockpile them.
But
And do a
you only
one-time.
do a one time.
Yeah.
So that you'd have the original and a one other time. That would make a big difference.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. What Frank has suggested is that we go to our bylaws right now, we're written for posting on the Wednesday prior. You know, I had intended to try to get that done, but with no power and internet, screwed that week up for me. So I think the proper thing to do would be, generally, it hasn't happened anyway. So, you know, we can amend our bylaws to shoot for posting by Friday at 5 and then regularize the process and then, you know, get it done, get the GM's report and then, you know, post it all at once and that will minimize additional hourly effort, so.
Well, what would that, how would that affect your rates? Would it change it because you don't have to all look good?
I really didn't have the corrections budgeted into it, because I'm looking for what that change is, but it was actually fairly minor per one, because there's the preparation of the agenda packet, but there's also posting the resolutions, posting the minutes, sending the minutes to the county once they're approved. There's lots of different moving parts in there. So I tried to keep it to a minimum because, I know how budgets work.
So that's where all that stuff falls under the $30 an hour.
Right. Now, the $30 an hour would be, for example, when you guys asked me to place an ad. That didn't fall into any of the other duties. And I don't know, Jeff, did you send him the email that I had sent you as far as,
Yeah,
Yes, I did
Yeah.
finally. I should have got it out.
Yeah.
earlier.
so. I have a couple of suggestions. One, like I would have liked to have had the GMP proposal in this agenda. And I think I did the agendas for about a year that way, and it was totally painful and awful. But for something like that, that could just go at the end. I know it was really confusing. I know that's what Josh was doing. He just plopped everything at the end that came in. And it was really hard for us to function, but for a single document, rather than
the
not.
larger documents, rather than making that agenda packet, so long, I put it as, in the other documents, just for ease of your access to it.
Yeah,
Because that one, I didn't have to do the agenda. But say when we added a resolution that had to go up in the middle of something. So to make it flow properly, then that's where things get a little messy.
yeah. And if
That was my fault.
the software actually that we had was 2,000 a year, and that would have taken, it takes a minute, but we let the software go, so that was just really unfortunate. The other thing that would be really helpful, I spent a lot of time going back through all the minutes, and like a comment comes up, Jeff says, well, let's have this in the next month's agenda, and then it isn't there. And I think as you're doing the minutes, it would be really helpful if you would start an agenda for March. Where
I've got them noted down.
yeah,
So when I do his draft agenda, I have them.
yeah, but catch all the comments too, because we've missed a lot of stuff that just gets dropped because it doesn't get brought up on the next agenda.
Well,
That's
that's a chairman responsibility, and
But I agree, but
sometimes my memory is, I'm gonna try to do a better job tonight when we're discussing future board meeting items, and that's where you guys can help backstop that at the end of each meeting.
But it's also possible, it's easy enough to do if she's writing it just to make that list. It's still your job to decide whether to put it on,
And we
Yeah.
are.
Okay, thank you, Director Carey.
Carolyn,
Mhm.
you were a regular 2 hour meeting, you were being paid what, $2.50?
I think so.
And I just worked on your $30 an hour, but for a 1 hour meeting, we put in 5 to 6 hours too.
By time all of the pieces.
And a 2 hour meeting, put in 10 hours, a full day plus a full day.
Usually, because for a 1 hour meeting, I don't have as much stuff to do, so I have that as a lower rate. The 2 hour meeting, usually has more resolutions, more, the minutes are longer. And so I allocated that accordingly. So it's not just a straight rate. I tried to kept track of my time. So I could kind of come up with, okay, this for a 2 hour meeting, it's gonna take this amount of time to prep it, to attend, do the minutes, and the getting everything posted and signed and stuff afterwards.
Okay, how could we make your job easier?
Have shorter meetings.
I was just looking. I was just
Sorry.
looking here. If we have a 3 hour meeting, that hour only costs us $50.
Yeah.
If you have a 2 hour meeting, it costs you $150 an hour, so let's
Also,
start at the 3 hour meeting and work backward.
well, most of the work comes before the meeting, not after.
Yeah, I know, I can. So what
That's
would
the
help
issue.
you out, Carolyn?
What would be the biggest thing that would help you, that you're having to redo and redo and redo?
Main thing is to get everything together at one time so that, you know. Is if, say you wanted to have it posted by Wednesday. That means I need it by Tuesday so I can get it all done by Wednesday, because not only am I doing your job, I own a business. And my business is doing quite well, so I'm fairly busy. And so I'm doing this in the mornings and the evenings. And so if we want to hit a deadline, you need to give me enough time to work that into my day.
So if we were gonna go for a Friday,
That's a good question, yeah, Friday afternoon posting.
Yeah.
Something.
when would we have to get, what would be the optimum to give you the information so that we don't, you only have to do it one time?
Fine.
If we screw up and miss it, shame on us.
I guess it depends on how much. Because like say, when you guys are doing a special meeting. That I can do fairly quickly because it's usually 1 or 2 resolutions. An agenda is not gonna change much because it's, the topic is very well defined. That's easy peasy. Like this one, where we've got, 2 or 3 resolutions and reports that need to be put in. And so I've got, I have reports coming from Josh and Bo. And then all the resolutions, so trying to get all of that gathered. So I would say if I have those Tuesday morning. I could probably get them done by Wednesday, 5-ish. And send you a note so you can see it on Thursday. Does that kind of make sense?
To me it does, but
I'm talking about shooting for Friday now and just saying Friday.
So it's so
So
you just
Wednesday then.
yeah.
That'd give her. Thursday morning and Friday morning to work it out.
Now I'm gonna throw
That
you.
would be your,
I'm gonna
four-
throw you a
four to
curveball
five.
for March, so. I'm gonna be in Grenada, so where Josh is gonna be doing. And so, and I've arranged for Susie to take notes for that meeting. And then when I get back from my trip, I will write the minutes myself, so.
Direct Grossman.
Manager Anderson.
In my business, what I had is a date like the P&L statement by the 3rd, the list of all the stuff that needed to be done and by who. Because what you're talking about right now, you already talked about probably last year a couple of times.
We did.
So I think you need to have a list with specific time. I mean, we have the calendar, everybody knows when they're supposed to do things. And I think that this is rather important that everybody get heard through the board meeting and get their agendas through. It's actually have one of those lists, okay? And the secretary will send it out every month, just to repeat it to you. So that you get reminded, because we all forget, but that list, GM's report by so and with specific times. So when you identify things in great detail, more often than not, it gets done.
That was an excellent suggestion. You just added another item to her list of to-dos. So,
But I think it's important.
I agree. It's a good suggestion, I say.
Everything goes through the president, so. We send it all to him. he compiles it and puts it.
What with the CC with
Yeah.
the CC to her. So,
Yeah.
because you know where he's going. He's
Cause he
fish.
might say, "Oh, we ain't putting that on. Or we need this on instead of that, so
Right.
that's the last word for the agenda packets. He's the chairman.
He does a good job at making sure, keeping me on track, so
So,
somebody's got to.
So,
I mean, I guess it's all well and good to be so rigid, but the bottom line is. The committee that was wanting to find to talk to a headhunting firm, we worked as hard as we could. And I got the information on Sunday. And it didn't get in. Legally, it could get in. I mean, I think there has to be. We have a tremendous amount of decisions coming up. And it's not that anybody forgot, it's just that it takes a lot of time to research everything and make the
It
content.
does.
we figured out a way to get around it, so
We got the job done,
Right, and I'm,
the
and I'm,
committee hadn't acted on your research at that point, so. It wasn't primed to get.
we acted on,
posted.
well,
You
okay.
didn't have a meeting until
we got the ball
yesterday,
rolling.
so.
Okay, but my point is, you can't be totally rigid.
And I'm fine with that. But I mean, there's,
You are, but that's not what we're talking about.
Well, you're, I'm gonna take a stand on this, it's important that if you're gonna use committees to. Make recommendations that process beyond that. I
Right?
I don't wanna have,
Up in town,
I
there
just-
wasn't anything we could do, so I was working alone with and talking to Greg.
we all have things happen, so I mean. It got handled, so we're moving. Nothing's too late, so, but we all learn from. Good judgment comes from bad experience. And we're gonna have better judgment going forward, so. There's further discussion on this resolution,
one last thing.
yes,
Could we postpone action on this until the next meeting? I would like to have Carolyn, make out just a short piece as to deadlines. When we have to get our stuff to her. So that she has time.
You gotta get it to him, so.
It goes to Jim and her at the same time, but his will be the first one on the agenda. Jeff has to have the agenda,
yeah,
and then everything else has to go through to both of them.
you would have to make a motion to that, I assume.
Yeah, what I just did.
I could hear it saying that way, but if you want to, you
Yeah.
can.
Can't they vote on her pay scale and she can do that, her deadline's later.
We can do
Another
that.
month
I
before
did
she gets-
find you had asked as far as what the prior rates were. 1 hour is 125, 2 hours was 250, and 3 hours 3. That was
I got one comment.
Director Ewald.
I think Carolyn's doing an awesome job. So I've been here 2.5 years and I'm happy.
Prove it.
Well, I'm not happy all the time.
Okay.
So can I ask, who is printing the resolutions that go in the resolution book?
Right now I am because I'm getting Jeff's signature. And then I bring them to Josh.
Okay, and are we using the special paper that? That doesn't, cause we were using a really fancy paper for the resolution book, so it doesn't deteriorate.
No, the resolutions have always just been printer paper. The minutes are on the fancy paper, not the resolutions.
The resolution book had much fancier paper, but,
Well, we got
okay,
the cloud now, so I don't
Okay.
think it's any difference.
Supposed to be some.
If you're looking for a place to cut the budget, the fancy paper would be the first thing I would.
Okay,
Sorry, that was probably inappropriate, but there.
okay, okay,
That's enough.
yeah. So, all those in favor of adopting the resolution to approve the adjustment of compensation indicate by saying aye. Aye, all those opposed nay. Motion passes. Carolyn, you're charged with making it to-do list for the president and the directors. So we
And
can,
the general manager.
based upon that, I'll probably include that in
resolution.
what we're gonna be talking about next, which is items for future board meetings. So one is gonna be bylaws change on posting of the agenda, because right now it's supposed to be Wednesday, but based upon Carolyn's recommendation and our review, you know, that may need adjusting. Budget amendments. Bo's gonna bring us a suggestion for those. I've got I'll discuss with Jill Cook and GM a need for resolution on the Main Street project in case it needs to be done. Figure out when that timing would be. What else have I missed? Director Ellis.
We need to get an ordinance ratifying the annexation of property that's been added to the district since February 15th of 2023. Otherwise, those properties are not on the voting registration.
Okay, Josh, can you do research to see which those would be? So what is that, an ordinance to add?
It's an ordinance because we haven't an ordinance should be passed every year and it hasn't been passed since February 15th of 2023. So I found several blocks of houses that didn't get a ballot.
Okay, ordinance adding subdivisions added to the district.
Not subdivisions, they have to add every house, don't you?
No, I think it's the annexations as they came in.
Okay,
Scrooge.
so, and an ordinance has to be passed over 2 meetings, so it'd have to be March and April.
Since February 23. Okay,
Yeah. So Bo, you seem to have things that you would like the auditor to do.
Yeah,
So maybe what we should do is you should make a list and estimate about how much time. Because that would have to be a separate contract with him.
this won't be a biggie. If he knows Black Mountain, if he does
They
not.
do.
They
yeah.
do, okay,
That's
then it would be a breeze. It would not be much time at
But
all.
we'd have to get a separate contract with him, and what I don't know is can he do it? Like for the financial report that we filed in December, the auditors can't file that, it has to be a separate number of people, because you can't. They have a big firm, it just may need to be somebody else from the firm, but if you know what you need, we would need a list and a resolution.
Well, part of the audit, he's got to come up with journal entries.
I know, but that's months off. Right now, the audit's scheduled for September, I think. So,
But how about July last year? There's no,
right,
we don't have anything.
exactly, but that's all we could
And
do.
That's why your balance sheets are off, and I don't want to tell her to make journal entries, I don't want to go there.
Okay, so you wanna wait until he comes?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
I want somebody who's certified to do this because it's a liability involved, and if I start correcting your books, I'm cooked. Okay, so I don't want to do that.
You to cook the books.
Well, that's my point. That's my point. And once you start with this journal entry, I got that wrong. Well, I'll make up for it on the debit here. So I don't want to touch that. It's not my responsibility. And you should insist on your number one responsibility is the fiduciary responsibility. The books got to be in order. Are they in order, Bo? No, they're not. I just want to tell you that.
Can you just write down a list of your concerns that we can give to the
Yeah.
auditor?
Yeah.
yeah,
Just
Yeah.
make a list
Yeah.
of your concerns and what we should take a look at. Because what the auditor said is they will look at everything, and what they do in the audit is do findings. Here's what we found. This is what needs to be corrected. And then we can do an accounting contract to clean that all up.
Anybody else get? Director Ewald.
Can I make a motion? We're too far gone.
Haven't left yet. We were moving
Cooks
that,
and cooked, so.
we can go back to new business if you want to.
So with Bo leaving here at the end of March, I would like to make a motion that we put a hiring freeze on until we have a new general manager, if there's any vacate. Other Susie's we go ahead with, but anything else after that, we put a freeze on it until the new manager shows up.
Just a pause to let the new GM hire some
Right.
people.
Yeah.
Well,
If that's.
that we might have some more people departing. That might be counterproductive. So I would think twice about that one.
How many do you think are gonna leave between now and the end of March?
We don't know, but
Is there
by year,
anybody?
let's put it this way, by year end, at least 2. But most likely a lot sooner.
Fiscal year end or calendar year end?
Physical,
So by July,
that would be physical.
And I'd like to second Frank's motion and then I have a discussion.
Okay,
I did talk to Matthew Huggins just at the end of the day, about 4:30, and I did send an email to everybody, but he's the one of the 2 owners of Peak Services. And he did say they're not gonna give a proposal to the district because they didn't think that would work for them. But their specific model is they actually provide all of the field work for a lot of districts around the state. So if we had 2 people that left and we didn't have work to cover, they would be able to step in with people that are trained and can do the field work until the new manager's in place. So I don't think we need to worry. I mean, they're available. We've talked to Kyle. He's very impressive. And he's got a team. They do work for Lockwood. So I think we're covered if we have a hiring freeze and 2 openings and we add,
just, I would call it a hiring pause.
well, yeah, hiring pause.
Well,
The other thing is if we are in a bind and it isn't working, we can have an emergency meeting on
call upon.
and remove the pause because of the need, so
Yeah.
it's not like we can't
But
react, so.
the territory here is called operations. And if you do not believe I run the operation correctly and you want to step in and run it for me, I don't think that's a good idea. And what I always try to do is give you the best possible advice and recommendations. I have run several companies and hiring freeze. Yeah, why don't we hire freeze? Save a lot of money. No, you kill yourself. Okay. So think twice about it. And you can always hire somebody emergent situation to help us out here. That's not a problem, but it's not the solution to a problem. It's not a solution long-term. So temporary, yes. Yes, that's fine. No problem.
That's what it was supposed to be,
Yeah,
temporary. It
temporary.
wasn't forever, it was
Well, could you
Well, if
put a
it-
timeline
If
on
it
it?
takes 6 months to
Temporary
find
becomes permanent very quickly.
if it takes 6 months to find a new GM,
Well, we'll have an interim GM when he departs at the end of March, one way or the other.
Okay,
So that's what we're looking at, is the end of March.
good, good.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of a motion to pause hiring until the new general manager is appointed?
temporary pause.
Temporary pause.
Okay.
Indicate by saying aye. All those opposed, nay.
Okay,
Okay, motion passed 5-1. I'll draft it up. We'll get it added to the minutes. Further items for future board meetings? Okay, thank you very much. If you think of any, please send them soon. Because you're gonna, I do get distracted at times and forget about things.
Well, with maybe,
Stay on it.
I'm gonna try to get as much of it done before I go so that it won't be a big deal to tweak it. and get it.
Implement for this next deal. Okay. Thank you very much. Seeing no further business before this board. This meeting is adjourned. Next board meeting, March 18th. Unless we have a special
what did
Special meeting when we,
You had.
when we get a contract.
Yeah.
Okay,
We have to have at least two.
we can slap it together in a hurry.